So you have a couple options within the cleanup tool. You can tell it to actually clean up the polygons or just select them. So like how we were figuring out where you guys are actually having n-gons, that's how we were doing it. Using the select matching polygons. But if you want to actually like physically clean them up, you can tell it to clean up. You can tell it to fix by tessellation, meaning it's pretty much just going to turn it into triangles, whatever's matching. You can tell it to turn all four-sided faces into triangles. Don't normally want to do that. You can, but you don't normally want to do that. Faces more than four sides, aka what are those? N-gons. So fixing n-gons, concave faces. So that's where you have like 2 points of a vert on a face that are kind of like bending inwards. So probably will turn it into a tri. So you have 2 tris that are actually bending inwards. Holes and non-planar faces. So it can fix all of those. We've talked about non-manifold geometry where you have like an extrusion that just wasn't pulled out and it doesn't like that. So it'll delete that information if you need to. And then you have options for changing the tolerances within each one of those. That's pretty much it. That's the tool. Pat, are you just a big fan of Kirby? Yes. Okay. Did you play the new game? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know Wallaby left behind run where I wouldn't let myself go to any of the other stages. So I got all the Wallabies from that stage, including the boss stages. So after I finished my first playthrough, I had all the Wallabies.
That's cool. How Michael's asking how or when do you use the chamfer tool? Can I give examples? I don't really use the chamfer tool, to be honest. I don't really use it that much. I might use it to make like a point or something, but I don't honestly use it very much. If you guys aren't familiar with the chamfer tool. Basically, you grab a vertex, you have a chamfer, and it splits it into a four-sided face. So you could use it to make holes if you wanted to, because that would give you a pretty nicely, squared off point right there. But the problem is it creates n-gons, so you got to fix the n-gons. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it because I can kind of do the same thing just by grabbing 4 faces and extruding, and it basically gives me the same result. And it gives you better topology too. So I don't know. There's probably artists out there that like will die on that hill of like the chamfer tool is the greatest thing ever, but I just haven't used it that much. And that's it. You guys have any issues or questions or soapboxes you want to talk about before we get started today? What do you got? Okay. Let's keep connecting these faces. Bringing this one down. I'm just gonna bring like a bunch of these. Okay, so we got a few of these to work with. I'm just gonna target weld these up to their respective points that I'm putting in here. Who in here plays D&D? All right. I got a task for you guys as I'm modeling. I need you to come up with a story for this character, for David's character. I need inspiration. So he's a wrestler.
Fighter, barbarian, multi-class. Do like fighter, do the champion subclass, barbarian.
I'm thinking more like his story.
Oh, the story.
Yeah, like because his class would be like wrestler. Like that's his gig. So like his fighting style would be like a wrestling style. Is what I'm thinking. Or maybe, but he also
The wrestling like archetypes. Like
So he's probably gonna face you. He was like face at first, but like he lost, like his opponent, which caused him to say that it's a rule change to come and be.
wow, whipping out those terms.
Or he's actually lovers bit. And it's all the public face of it.
Now, are you an NWO fan or WWE fan?
Huge fan, but I don't think much.
So when I just said come up with this story, you're like, this is my goddamn time to shine. But then you didn't say anything, and I'm like, well, I think his job's a wrestler, and you're like, oh, I fucking got this.
I was slowly integrating.
Sure, that's your excuse. I watch a lot of wrestling with my boyfriend.
Well, he's the one that introduced me to it, and I found a lot of my favorite wrestlers like watching matches with him. But he'd probably be a lot like Kenny Omega. I would imagine,
Okay.
because Kenny likes a lot of the gaming references whenever he did his earlier wrestling. So I was like, oh, yeah, he's a face, and I can slowly becoming a heel.
Fun fact, I know nothing about wrestling, so like
So he's like,
I watch Glow. I watch
Glow
both
is so
like
good.
what 2 or 3 seasons of Glow. I love Glow. Is that
I only caught the first season.
does that count?
a hero turned villain.
Okay. David would be a hero turned villain. I could see that.
But he lost against his biggest rival, which was his villain, and it became something.
Okay. So who would be like wrestlers have like their like arch enemies, right? So who would be his arch enemy? It doesn't even have to be like a real wrestler. Like if you're like wanting to like freestyle. So guys, you notice how far out away from the lips these face loops are going? You need to make sure yours are going out just as far, especially with characters that are going to be more expressive. You see how big his smile is right here? Like that's a huge freaking smile. I need to make sure I can accommodate that. Same thing with his eyes. He has a big eye, so I need to make sure I can accommodate those big changes in geometry. Okay. So I don't want like a couple of edge loops, like just like right around the eyelids. Like we need big expressive face loops around all of this. Cat, got any more story?
Like the first thing that came around, said, Dylan, was like, you have.
What would I be as a wrestler? Let's go down this road, see what happens. What would be my wrestling name?
What's Zarya's, the name of Zarya?
I'm calling him the Pounder Taker. Like literally the only wrestler I know that I could think of was just the Undertaker, so that's all I got. All right, so I got, so you see, as I'm kind of gradually like building this in, I'm gonna start attaching it to the main body, right? So right here, then right here, and I'm just trying to like match our edges as best I can. So David is modeling me as a Bob's Burger styled Star Wars Imperial officer. So that's something like we could, you know, because we're for the for our next like big rigging project, like we're gonna be rigging these two characters. So we could totally make like a short. So that's gonna be part of the neck. And then as the neck, think about the neck as gonna be concentric rings that go around from the base, goes around all the way, and then next up a little bit, it's gonna be another ring, another ring, and another ring. So you wanna try to keep them as complete as possible. So that's why I'm gonna try to get, so this is gonna be basically the neck. Like this will be, well, actually, you know what, this area is gonna be the neck. So I need an extra edge loop right here. It's gonna be a little rough, but it might work. So kind of like that right there. And if you think of this as kind of like a game where you're just like gradually filling in the holes, I think that makes it a little bit easier to get past some of the tedium of this. And I can add in a few extra edge loops right here.
Why do you mostly use ZBrush? What are the advantages of ZBrush? It's not different as
I can move about 4 times faster in there, and it's more of a sculpting tool. And so I can whip out characters within about a day or so. So it's a lot faster for me to work. It's a lot more freeform. It's more artistically engaging, I think, as a medium. Whereas here I'm moving like every single vertex, I'm like being really like precise with it. the vertices don't matter. It's it's clay. It's literally clay. Well, it's not literally clay, but it's pretty much clay. So that's why I like it so much. Okay. I think I need to put in an edge loop right here. But if I put in an edge loop here, it's like, you see, I'm coming up again. This is like a pretty stretchy spot right here. So I have an issue. So if I put an edge loop in there, it's going to run straight down into my fingers. I don't necessarily want that. But I need some extra topology right in here because it's stretching really bad with the neck. So what options do I have? Any thoughts? Honestly, this whole region could use like 2 extra edges just to help define it a little bit better. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So extrude it. Shrink it up a little bit. Get rid of that face right there. Now you got 2 extra edge loops. And we have a little bit of extra definition we can work with. So yeah. All right, let's take, I'm gonna do an extrusion. Flatten that out. And I need to go to the base of the ear, which is gonna be right here. I'll bring that down to there. That's gonna match. Right there. All right, go ahead and bridge both of these. I do have, and kind of need an extra edge loop right through here. So maybe I can just lower this one. Bridge that. I'll probably end up needing an extra edge right through here. So I can put that, that's just literally gonna go across and that'll be fine when I duplicate it. Close back. Out, smooth it out just a little bit. Remember, if you're putting vertices in, they got to do some sort of work for you. You can't just throw them in there for the sake of it. Even if it's just barely tweaking the surface, they need to do something. Okay. All right, so we're getting closer and closer to that ear region. Let's go ahead and tighten up. I can do a quad right here, or I can do a few that goes across. I think I should go in a few that go across might be a little bit better for me. So we'll just take these 3, move them up. Do a target weld, boom, pop that over there. Pop this, there it is. That one goes over there. this over. Bridge that hole. Bring these back over here. So I'm kind of making this little outline for where the ear is going to be kind of pulled out from. Kind of see like right there. And kind of similar to how we did the breast earlier, this is going to be pull this in, extrude. And then extrude out. Extrude out. Remember, your earlobe actually comes out and like gets bigger from the attachment point. So you want to actually like remember to sculpt that feature in. And pull it in. Pull it some more. Then we can do a fill hole and then do a quick multi-cut. That one's gonna go across there. That one's gonna cross. Okay, that actually works better. Let's do this one across to here. And this one will go across. There we go. Perfect. All quads. A good day. All right, so I'm giving in some round ears. This is gonna kind of end up being the little ridge around the outer part of the ear. Where'd you go? Come here. So that's a very, very basic ear. More detail what that is going to be. Going in and putting in interior ridge details in there. Something like that. And remember, like anatomically speaking, our ears, you know, for different people, they may sit a little bit closer or further away from the head, but generally, you know, they're going to sit kind of against the skull. You know, it's gonna be laying against the skin of your head, but it does stick out a little bit. So you don't have to just like model it like flat against the head or like, unless you're Barack Obama, completely like sticking out like a mouse. You guys ever look at he's got some funny looking ears. I love his ears. They stick out really far. But yeah, most people probably aren't that far. So I kind of give myself a little bit of an angle on this one. All right, let's grab the mesh tool, sculpting smooth. And let's turn strength down. I don't want to be that. I'm just going to very gently just kind of go in and relax some of this. You know what? I could probably use 2 extra edge loops right here for the hip. I forgot to put that in. Make sure you put those in. And also on I'm just kind of picking things out as I'm seeing them. On the knees and elbows, it might not be a bad idea to put a little bit extra geometry in that area so it stretches and pulls a little bit more. And this is going to be like basically your elbow cap and your knee cap. Just kind of shrinking that in a little bit. Just so you got like an extra bit of topology in there to kind of stretch when you need it, when the knee closes. Let's see. Here. So its elbow is going to be right there. Put that out. Okay. Go ahead and do the two internal structures for the head, the mouth sac and the eye sac. So these are going to be structures that basically, for the most part, are going to be unseen, but they are important. The mouth sac is going to be a space where we build just basically a bag that goes back into the head where the eyeball sits. Same way if you hypothetically pull your eyeball out of your head, you're going to have a structure in there that's going to basically be what protects the eyeball and holds it in place. The mouth sac is going to be your interior of the mouth and the upper part of your esophagus. The reason why we're going to have both of these in here is for the eye. If your eye is turning inside the skull, you don't want to see basically the inside of the body, the inside of the head. You want to hide that. So having that sac in there is going to be able to let you hide it a little bit better. The mouth sac is so, if you guys ever watch Sesame Street and you have Cookie Monster eating those cookies, he's going nom 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 nom. He has an interior of that mouth, right? If you didn't have that, what would you see? Well, they just fall out, but what would you see if you didn't have that interior of the mouth? Some dude's hand doing this. So you need something to hide that. Additionally, with this, you don't want to see the inside of the head. You need something to hold the teeth, the tongue, and the gums. So we need this interior sac to basically allow us to keep believing this is like a real living, breathing person. Okay. So you have to have that in here. At this stage, it's going to be easier to put it in before you duplicate it over than after you duplicate it over, just because you have better access to the inside of the head. So what you're going to do is go ahead and grab the edges of the mouth, and then we're going to extrude back. And this is going to be the curl of the lip. So kind of if you like stick your finger in your mouth where that lip kind of like curls down and will meet your gums, this is what we're creating right here. And then from that curl, we're going to move straight back. Then the mouth is going to widen until we have basically the maximum of that cavity. That's gonna depend on the size of the mount that you're creating. And then we're gonna go again, straight back. Make sure we don't cut out the head. And then we're gonna start creating the back of the throat. Then we'll fill in this area right back here. If you need to have triangles back here, it's not gonna kill anything. This is not visible. We do not want n-gons. But since this is not visible, we're not too, strict on the topology back here. So see, that's basically going to be the overall form. Add in a few edge loops in here, so when you talk, it actually can open up and flex. The lips themselves are also going to need edges on the inside as well. So we'll make sure we have those. And then I want to put a right here, so it kind of reinforces that shape. And go in and smooth this out a little bit. All right, so there's that. And then the interior of the eye, I'm gonna go and grab that eye area that we created. I'm gonna go ahead and shrink it in a little bit. Again, going back again. I'm gonna start to scale up. Back again. Scale again. So just fill the hole and then quad it off. Let's see. A little extra one in here, so that's just gonna be a triangle. And I'm just gonna relax it just a little bit. That's it. And then a few more edge loops right here, especially like right here, right at the eyelid. You want to make sure we have enough for that blink. And we're getting really close to where we're going to go ahead and duplicate it over to the other side. So I should have a pretty clean line of symmetry right now. But let's just double check everything. So now I've been smoothing a lot. So you see it kind of just moving from one side to the other. It's actually not super symmetrical. So just go ahead and just test that real quick. And if we're good, we can go ahead and tell the mesh to go ahead and mirror. So I'm going to go to mirror options and let's do cross the x-axis from left to right. It's going to be mirror direction negative. So we're on a positive side right now looking at this little handle down here. So it should go in the negative. It's going to ask us if we want to merge border vertices. This is why we're straightening everything up. So if it does have a border vertex, it'll do it. And yeah. So there we go. Let's check and see how well it did it. So this is the moment really where you see if your proportions look good. I think there's a few issues. But you know what? That's okay. We can fix this. But there he is. That's pretty much it. Funnily enough, proportionally, he's not that far off from the drawing. But you can see like in 3D, like it's a little wonky. I think part of it is like the torso is just way too skinny. So I might have to pull that torso out. And maybe that'll help things a bit. I think I might have pulled in the sides of the head though. That head is like ridiculous. God. He's got a butt crack though. Any questions at this point?
Did we go ahead and do some art for their backside too?
For like the butt backside or like the rear, just the rear view?
For a rear view especially.
Yeah.
Like, would that be?
So if you look at my artwork, I mean, I have a backside because I was kind of trying to think about how the costume was going to fit. So I knew I was going to have the suspenders, whatever you want to call that piece.
Not gonna lie, that first one looks a little bit like the Borat swimsuit.
So that's pretty much what I did. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so that is kind of purposely there. But like I needed to figure out how I wanted it to look on the back.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what I wanted. So even here, it's just a simple drawing of just like, all right, here's where the belt lays on top of the suspenders with the shorts. Like I needed to figure out how that layering was going to happen. So there it is. All right, so here would be a good place to turn on symmetry since we are symmetrical. Object X. Yes. Probably go ahead and turn on. It's like just where I'm grabbing, it makes me think of the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie where they like slap the jetpack on Drax and like he goes, ah, my nipples. If you have not seen the second Guardians movie, you really need to see it. It's hilarious. Although if you haven't seen the first one, I question why you're even here. But out on the sides. Let's see. There we go. It's helping a little bit. I think it's making it look a little more imposing. Let's get that chest. Just a little bit more. Legs look pretty good. Let's see what else. Shoulders might need to come out a little bit more. Yeah, actually the forearms might be a little bit too short. Let's see. So I'm kind of conflicted on the head. I think the neck is too thick. At least maybe like back here it's too thick. I'm trying to figure out like what's wrong with the head. Just pull this in a bit and see if that kind of helps him. Because I mean, like he's basically like a sphere, just kind of like plopped on the body, but I have to have a neck of some sort. Give him some bigger cheeks.
Maybe it's just the front of his face is a little squished.
Like right here squished.
No, like squished this way.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just a little too flat on the front.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it does kind of look like it slammed in a door. Feel free to use that as a critique on critique day. Your model looks like its face got slammed into a door. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay. I think honestly, I'm at a point where I want to just kind of leave it alone for a while. Then I'm going to come back to it and have my, oh my God, revelation. So we got about 20 minutes left, 20, 30 minutes left. So once you guys work for a little while in class, I'm gonna walk around, just kind of checking you guys, see how you're doing. If you have any questions, that'd be the time. So we're just gonna go from there.